Welcome back, pilots, to Squadrons Update. Yesterday, EA put out a brand new pilot briefing which goes into detail on how you'll customize your starfighters and pilots, both aesthetically with cosmetic items as well as functionality with ship components. Now, I'm still working on that brand new Ranks lore video, so I was a bit hesitant on if I should take the time to cover this pilot briefing or not. But since I know so many of you do love the cosmetic customization aspect involved in Squadrons, then yeah, we'll check it out. As always, we'll be covering all of this and more in today's video. And before we get into any of that, but a quick reminder. As if you do like these type of videos, then do remember to give it a like to show your support for not only this update series, but also the content within it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's first start with ship components, since that'll be what impacts gameplay after all. As you know, the more you play Squadrons, the more components you'll be able to unlock via requisition points that you earned for your starfighters. These can be equipped to change how your ships function in subtle or radical ways. Some impact your starfighters passively, such as reinforcing their defensive capabilities with different hulls or shields, while others have more active changes, such as what abilities you can use. Creating loadouts that suit both your playstyle and the situations you face will help you excel in combat. In total, there are 7 component slots. Those ships without shields will only have 6. And these are primary weapons, auxiliary ×2, countermeasures, hull, shields, and engines. Fine-tuning a starfighter is something that can be very personal to each pilot. It's perfectly fine to jump into an X-Wing and blow something up to familiarize yourself with how a starfighter feels in its default setting, especially in the customizable practice range, but from there you'll want to tailor your loadout to best support your squadron. Pilots can adjust performance and functionality of their starfighters all through the components. Starfighters can be equipped up to 3 different passive components and 4 active components. The first group of components are the ones that provide active changes. These ones are more situational and can sometimes have a very significant impact on gameplay. These 3 slots of active components are primary weapons, auxiliary components, of which there are 2 slots for, and countermeasures. Primary weapons are your starfighter's cannons. These components change the functionality and performance of your weapons. One primary weapon might offer a higher rate of fire in exchange for lower damage output, while another provides long-range damage in the form of burst fire. There are even primary weapons that radically change the way your weapons work too, such as ion cannons that can shred through shields and disable starfighters outright, but don't do too much hull damage. Each option will provide you with a unique experience and can excel in different situations, but finding the ones which are better suited to how you want to engage the opponent is most important. Auxiliary components make up the next 2 slots, and these components make up your starfighter's secondary abilities. The options here range from adding a repair astromech or tractor beams to a variety of torpedoes, bombs, and mines. But for these 2 slots, you can only have 1 of each component, meaning you can't have 2 repair units or 2 of the same missiles. And balancing out your starfighter's kit should always be taken into account. The final component is your ship's countermeasures. These components impact how you disengage from fights, so you can survive longer. Some examples are seeker warheads that your ship fires behind you to take out incoming missiles, or a sensor jammer to prevent missile lock-ons. These are often your last-ditch efforts to survive in a battle, so use them wisely or you might not have them when you need them the most. Passive ship components, on the other hand, provide changes to the general performance of your engines, hull, and shields, typically via percentage increases and decreases to their stats. With your default loadout, your starfighters will be well balanced and won't have any major strengths or weaknesses. But through customizing, then you can decide what you do and don't want to trade off with that. And there are also some additional bonuses too, such as engines that can create a large explosion, damaging enemies upon your starfighter's destruction. For example, one shield will be more resilient to blaster fire, but more vulnerable to missiles, while another will have an entirely different pros and cons to them, like taking longer to lock onto your ship when it has full shields, but increasing the shield regeneration delay. So there are often trade-offs in what is gained and what is sacrificed, and these decisions can make all the difference in battle too. The same goes for the engine or hull components. Making your starfighter more nimble might reduce its max speed, or increasing your hull strength might reduce its maneuverability. So just remember this, any changes to your passive ship components will have a constant effect on your starfighter's performance during a fight. So be sure to experiment until you find the right balance that best fits your playstyle. And yeah, components are an important part of how you'll pilot your starfighter, and experimentation is highly encouraged. Now with that said, do keep in mind that there are unique components between the two factions and even across ships too, such as the Y-Wing Ion Autocannon, so you'll always be able to have a unique experience no matter what. But of course, we all know that style can be just as important to some hotshot pilots, so let's get into customization next. Now in general, most cosmetics are unlocked via glory points that you earn while playing. Of course, with customizing your pilot's look between the factions with their different faces and outfits, you will also be able to customize your starfighter's hull with paint jobs, decals, cockpit holograms, dashboard miniatures, and hanging flare. That said, Motive do know that some players won't want to have any of that and prefer to see starfighters that match what they've seen in the movies. So in response, Motive have implemented an option for you to make it that all the other starfighters only appear in their default state. And this is of course entirely optional, but great for those who'd rather not see pink X-Wings or TIE fighters flying around on the screen. Because in the end, how you customize the functionality and appearances of your pilots and starfighters is entirely up to you. Motive encourages everyone to do what feels best and allow yourself to experiment. If you find that you love a whole bunch of different combinations on your favorite ship, then that's great too. And remember, as you'll play, you'll also be able to unlock loadouts too, allowing every ship in the game to have up to 5 different component and cosmetic configurations. And yeah, you heard that right, every ship will have up to 5 different loadouts that you can customize. So yeah, you can have different skins or cockpit customizations for each loadout, which is fantastic news in terms of customization. But in the end, there's no wrong way to play as long as you're having fun. And hey, if a regular old X-Wing worked for Luke Skywalker, then it can work for all of us too. But until the next time, this will do it for your Squadrons update. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but also keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.